Hey, my friends. Okay, I'm back. I'm live with my braces again. I'm on a walk with my little boy and my dog, so I thought it was a good time to go live, ask questions, and be here to support you. So, my name's Alexandra. My name's Alexandra. I'm a founder of Life With Herpes. I started Life With Herpes in 2017. So I can't believe it's been 9 years. Yeah, it's a long time. Anyways, I was diagnosed with HSV1 in 2003 and HSV2 in 2011. So I have been living with this for a rather long time. And in 2017, I decided to go public. And I decided to go public so that I would help people. Because when I was diagnosed in 2011, I was in my 20s. I felt so isolated. I felt so alone. I felt worthless. I felt like I'd never be a mom. And, you know, here I am. I thought I'd never be a mom. I thought I'd never be a wife. If I was, it would be because I was settling. If I was, it would be, oh, I have to do this, or I have to be with this person because of this choice I made, or because of the situation I was in. And, you know, that's not true. That's not accurate. Is herpes something that you don't want? Obviously. I don't want it. Right? Like, it's not something you want. You don't go like, let me sign up. Let me go get this. Absolutely not. But is it something that changes your life or alters your life? Well, I will say it does change and alter your life, actually, because you begin to go through this complete transition of who you are and what you want to become. But does it make it so that you cannot have your dream job, or that you can't go to college, or you can't go to school, or you can't get married, or you can't have children, or you can't live life a certain way? Whatever that looks like to you, whatever your ideal life is, that's completely false. Completely false. Does it change your life? Yeah, it does. Did it change mine for the better? Yeah, it did. It gave me confidence. It forced me to wake up, forced me to stand up, forced me to go back to my morals, forced me to get morals, forced me to be competent. It can take you down, obviously. It can totally take you down. I've talked to many, many, many people who have said that they never got married, they've never dated, they've never had children. And that's absolutely heart-wrenching. That's absolutely horrible. I've talked to people that are parents, and they're like, I've never gotten in swimming pools with my kids because I'm scared I'll transmit it. Oh my goodness. That's just horrible. Wow. Absolutely horrible. Yeah, we're on a walk. A walk. Last time I went live, you guys had a lot of questions about supplements. And that's always a big one. That's something I, live by. That's something I have as a non-negotiable in my life, are my supplements. So my 3 non-negotiables are Lysine, so it's L-lysine, Monolaurin, and Andrographis. And it's something that our body needs. We consume it. We get it from foods like shellfish, potatoes, meats, cheese, dairy. I guess cheese is dairy. Avocados. I said fish, shellfish. So that essential amino acid protein is what helps block the replication of the HSV virus. It, in a way, is like a shield for the virus. It helps slow down the replication or block the replication. So how does that impact us? Is when the virus is active, we don't want it replicating. We don't want it replicating at the speed that it's going to replicate to either increase the outbreak, to extend the outbreak, to have the worst outbreak ever. If we take lysine, it can slow down the outbreak. It can have, oops, I got to cross the street. It can prolong the duration in between outbreaks. Is it going to prevent outbreaks altogether? Absolutely not. You know, is there really anything that can do that? Potentially the antiviral, but still there is not necessarily one thing that can prevent it. But it's going to be more of a natural way to help slow down the replication, or help slow down the duration, or quicken the duration of your outbreak, or sorry, I just have too much going on, or things like that. Okay, I feel like I'm doing like word salad right now. I got too much in my brain right now. Okay, so that's lysine. Then we have monolaurin, which is AKA lauric acid. Lauric acid is something that's found in human breast milk, also coconuts, as well as forget that, I can't say it with my braces. Okay, so what does that do? Okay, so that is really important when we're talking about viruses and other bacteria and other infections in our body. So monolaurin is something that I take alongside with my lysine. They work together. If you go on Monolaurin and More, it's a third-party website, and it talks about the impact of how monolaurin is so helpful in our bodies when it comes to viruses, when it comes to other infections. So when you have other infections in your body, that's an opportunity for the HSV virus to pop up. That's an opportunity for the HSV virus to say, ooh, Alexandra has this going on, so we're going to pop up and do this. Or other things like that. So when you get under control any infection that's in your body, so say like a UTI or BV or things like that, then you have less chance of having reoccurring herpes outbreaks. So if you go to Monolaurin and More, thank you. If you go to Monolaurin and More and check that out, you'll see some medical articles and things of that nature. I feel like I'm really scattered this morning, you guys, and not like deep within my thoughts. I apologize. I was just listening to another podcast on my walk, and I'm like deep in that thought right now of like what I just learned. And it's also early, and I'm also walking a dog and a baby and just thinking. Andrographis is a very potent extract that is very potent when it comes to fighting the HSV virus as well. So potent that I am not taking it. Like I said, I haven't taken it since I was pregnant. I'm not taking it since I am breastfeeding. But it's something that I put in my arsenal as a non-negotiable. Lysine, monolaurin, andrographis. Those three things are where it's at. Now, Natural Cure Labs is where I go. I have talked to other people that have gotten supplements from other people, that have gotten them online, that have gotten them, you know, at Walgreens or CVS, or just popped in, and they've said they're not as potent and they don't really have any effect. So that's something I want to share as well, is where you get your supplements. It's kind of a sneaky world out there. There can be a lot going on as far as behind the scenes. It's not ethical. So that's something I want to say. Let me ask you a question. I've been dealing with someone who has the same issue, someone who has herpes. You've been dealing with someone who has herpes, or what issue? And what does that mean, dealing with? Does that mean someone that was just diagnosed, someone that gets outbreaks, someone that doesn't want to disclose, someone that has disclosed? That's why I'm waiting for you to get back to me. We were just talking about rejection also on our support group call. Like, why does rejection happen? That's always a big one. And I go back down to 3 reasons of why rejection happens. 3. They're really important. 1, the person's not emotionally that type of situation, just emotionally immature. The second is the person has a deep-rooted belief on herpes or STDs, for that matter. So you can talk to their blue in their face. They can say, logically it makes sense. Logically I get it. Like, not a big deal, but I just can't get over I can't get off the fence. Like I love you, but I just can't sleep with you. I love you, but I can't be with you because you have herpes. You're everything I want, but I just can't be with you. Another perfect example in real life world, you could have a rabbi and a priest, and they can sit down and they can talk and they can agree on so many things, but there's one thing they're not going to agree on, which is Jesus being the Lord and Savior. So, perfect example. You can have the conversation, you can talk about it, you can have mutual respect for one another, but you just can't get off the fence. The third is the reason for rejection. The third is person's just not into you, period. Person just doesn't like you enough to take on that risk, and that's perfectly fine. That's absolutely perfectly fine. You're knowing up front that person is not your ride or die. You're knowing up front that person's not going to be there for you. You're knowing up front that person was just into something casual. That person was just into something not important. So those are my 3 reasons that rejection happens. Okay, so someone said, okay, you've been dealing with someone who has the same issue. Yes, she told me when I first met her. Okay, that's awesome. So you're talking to somebody that has herpes. You yourself have herpes, and she disclosed it early on, initially in a first date. I think that's awesome. I think that's wonderful. I think that shows a lot of courage. It shows a lot of respect. That shows that she respects you. That shows that, come on. That also shows, Scarlett, come on. That also shows that she's scared of getting hurt. That also shows that she's telling you up front for a protection barrier. So when we disclose, like before we meet the person, whether we put it on a dating profile or we disclose on a text before we go out on a date, or we disclose like on the first date, people go, oh, I just want to get it out there. I don't want to waste time. Yes, and it's also a self-protection method. That person does not want to get attached. That person does not want to have you reject him or her. That person's been hurt so deeply before that he or she does not want that rejection. Now, that rejection doesn't have anything to do with herpes. That person just doesn't want to be rejected. So when the person says, oh, I just don't want to waste time. Well, yeah, obviously. I would use that, oh, I just don't want to waste time for, hey, I want to have kids or I don't want to have kids. That's something I would probably say on a first date. If you're like, I don't want to have kids and you're dating someone that wants to have 6 kids, that's a conversation you should have. So that's I don't want to waste your time. I would say herpes is something that's not a big deal. And that's a conversation that you would want to have once you are ready to be intimate with somebody. That's just my take on it. That's awesome that you really like her. I would enjoy her. How do we prevent transmission? That's a conversation that every couple needs to have intimately. What works for you and a specific partner is going to be very different for you and another partner, or for my husband and I. The way that we prevent transmission is different than what you would do if you're first dating someone. I don't even know how many years in I am with my husband, and he doesn't have it. So it just depends on how you want to do those things. My son took my husband and I and our other son, he took us sailing last night. He's 6. He took us sailing. It was really fun. And took my mom and dad sailing, not on the same boat because you can't sail a boat that's that big. So we did multiple boat trips. And then I made this incredible strawberry pie that I got from the farm. Well, I got the strawberries from the farmer's market. And then a seagull started eating it, and I was devastated. It was so tragic, but I still ate it. I went around where the seagull went. I still ate it. It was beautiful. I also love watching you. It's been 4 years that I have been dealing with her. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. It's been 4 years you've been dealing with her. What does that mean? 4 years you've been talking to someone? 4 years you've been dating someone? 4 years you've had herpes? I don't know what that means. There's a lot behind that. And right through here, you can see our beach. Here we are. There's the ocean right over there. People are out there jogging. It's probably the Navy SEALs that are out there, yeah. So I would say if you've been dating someone or dealing with someone that has herpes for 4 years, I would say that's nothing new. I'd say that's awesome. I think that's great. I'd say that you're in a relationship. I'd say that she likes you. I'd say that she's into you. I'd say that she wants to be with you. Celery juice. Let's talk about that. Good morning. So if you guys know Coach Sarah Joy, she is a huge contributor to the Life With Herpes platform. She's been part of it for a while. And she's in our group. She's in our private group. If you ever wanted to get directly in touch with her, she's in our group. She joins our lives, not our lives. She joins our support group calls that are Monday morning and Monday evening. Anyways, she's the one that really got me going on celery juice. And it was like years. I was like, I'm going to start it. I'm going to try it. I'll get there. And celery juice is so important. It helps break down. No, I don't want to say break down. Breakdown's not the word. I have to be very careful with my words. Viruses, like specifically the herpetic viruses, where they're talking about herpes zoster. And I think I'm going to lose my opportunity here because my little boy needs attention. But celery juice helps, I'll just use the word breakdown, the herpes viruses. And it helps weaken. How about we say that? Helps weaken the viruses in your body. So that's super important. Also, if you have any digestive issues, if you have any thyroid issues, if you have really anything going on in your body, celery juice is like the miracle. And I've been drinking celery juice now since May, and it's absolutely transformed my life. So I just wanted to say that. Drink celery juice. Like, I've had gluten issues. I've had stomach issues. I've had just all sorts of things going on. And I finally can eat normal again, and it's great. Okay. I'm going to go because I feel like this was a really distracted live. I just wanted to go live because I wanted to talk to you all. And I just hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me on my scattered live. Okay. Bye guys. Have a great day. Thanks.